Oh shit. Wait, where's that sexy skeleton at? Uh-oh. Oh shit. Oh, I might have fucked up. I don't know if I can activate this now and have it work. Oh. Hold up. Hey, here's my naked skeleton.
Yo.
I just see you as an OBS swirl.
Mic check.
Yeah, I don't know. Yo, what I'm like. I don't know if you'll see
Mike.
me. I don't know if you're gonna see me on here. I don't normally run the show. Hold on a second.
Okay. Oh, it's usually Vault, right? Is he out?
Well, yeah, I figured what you, Ian, Mike, me and him might have been.
Yeah, Ian's a little dubious. He's got like some. I don't know if he told you he's got some.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, he filled me
kid
in,
drama.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty funny.
Kid drama?
Yeah, his kid was like saying the F word or something today at school. It's like,
Oh boy. Well, you gotta
Came-
start
came
somewhere.
with
up to-
that.
I know, man. I
Ian's
mean,
gonna be like, express yourself.
no, he's not. He's gonna. Well, maybe Ian will. I think his mom. I think Davis's mom was mad.
Yeah, well,
But
she
yeah.
should be. That's
She should be. She should feel lucky that she didn't have me as a fucking kid. That's what she should. She doesn't know, but she should feel. Lucky.
I hid all of my notes from because I was the kid who talked too much, obviously, and then I asked dumb questions or what other people thought were dumb questions. So I'd get all these notes that just said from elementary, middle, high school. I kind of chilled out, but I just had all these notes. I hid them in like a toy chest. My mom, they finally called her to the office. They were like, "Have you not been getting the notes?" And she's like, "What notes?" So then she took me to her sister's and just beat me with a belt, basically, like 7th grade, I think.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
That's sad, actually. You shouldn't have been beaten. You should
I
have just
told
been
her,
like, Mike, what are your thoughts on these things? You know?
Yeah, well, this was 25 years ago, you know?
Yeah,
My mom had the tools she had.
that's true.
Great mom.
Honestly, I should have gotten beaten. Probably would have solved a lot of problems.
I don't know. I think it usually creates problems.
I don't know, man. You gotta come up against it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, Mo? You gotta get broken in. You gotta
Like
realize
these
there's a limit,
horses.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, just
Yeah,
like
like
these
these
horses,
horses, yeah.
exactly. Sorry, I am.
I'm retweeting your link. You're good.
On Thursday.
I just crammed a workout session in real because Ian was like, "Yo, you gotta come on." So I was like, "Oh shit!" It's like usually during my time, so I just like slammed a workout out really fast.
Dude, I haven't worked out. I mean, I've did yoga twice this week, but I haven't hit the gym once. I told myself today, but then, oh nice, my computer passed the test. It only took 2 hours to do it. I ran some memory test
I'm
on
kinda
my
live, yeah.
CPU.
Oh, here, I'll mute right now.
All right, I think we're good. Steve, what is up? Fib, what is happening? You are muted. We'll be with you in a moment. Mike, what's going on, buddy? Appreciate you hopping on. How's it going?
It's going great, man. Just hanging out. A little rain outside, so it's a good day to be inside.
Yes, sir. We've had nothing but rain here in New York for the past couple months. I'm ready for warm weather. I'm ready to get out and do some golfing. But
Yeah.
also ready to do some degenerate horse playing, so
What's your handicap?
handicap is I play golf. That's my handicap.
Also, it's not very good, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm a scratch. I'm like a scratch plus 20 type golf, and I shoot like
Oh,
if I shoot in the 80s and 90s, it's a good day for me, to be honest.
my grandpa used to say he shoots for the 70s. If it gets any colder than that, he's not playing.
All right, I'm here. All right, sorry about that. Had to mute. A little blender action happening. I don't think it would have been pleasant. Good to be here. How you guys doing?
Nice.
I've been in
Third
Blender all
time
week, actually. Fit right
Thursdays.
in.
Third time Thursdays, baby.
A little later this week.
7 p.m. We're looking at the handicap, right? The game
Yeah.
We're all
like
looking at the well, I hope we're looking at the handicap. I am Oh yeah, Thursday
let me-
time handicap, 720 coming up. What else we got coming up here? We got the Pontchartrain allowance at 707.
I don't know whether to look at my little laptop or just let you guys see my side face while I'm looking at my main monitor.
It's all right, man. It's a good profile.
Yeah, you're
Strong.
good.
Yeah, it's
you're good.
just I can offer more if I have more to look at.
Yeah, so you guys quickly find out again. I'm normally the guy who just shows up and like, yep, let me just lend the voice. Y'all figure everything else out. But
Well,
here we are.
I know about that. I know about that life.
you got Scuba in here with a few. I've been talking to him a lot. He bought Ghost Diver just last week or the week before from Ghost, so he
Yeah,
named
it's a
it
powerful
after
horse.
him.
Powerful horse.
Yeah, all of Ghost's horses are powerful.
Ghost Diver. That used to be Montana, I think, right? I know Montana. I've seen Montana race a lot.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's the one related to Hannah, right?
I think so. Yeah. Billy Ray.
Yep, that's the one.
There we go. Okay.
I threw a few in here. This Pearl Heart hasn't been a very winning horse for me, but Ticket said it would be. I don't know. LDF is really competitive. There's like around this A plus, A minus. There's a lot of horses.
Let's look at Pearl Heart. Let's see, the 5 furlong. You're racing Pearl Heart. Okay. You've done a lot of short races.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looked like on the ticket. That's why it's probably going to be testing her out longer, but I usually try to look at, whenever I'm looking at my horses, I usually try to look at where they ran their highest fleet figures. And a lot of times that'll kind of tell me what their ceiling is, especially if it looks like a ceiling number for that grade or whatever.
Mhm.
One of the things
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that I think would be really cool is if, like, so whenever I go put this in my log later, I'll just put all these FF numbers into my log so that now at least I can judge what the fleet figure strength of the field was. And obviously, fleet figures, I think, are a whole conundrum we haven't really figured out, but I mean, they do mean something.
You're looking for the pattern.
Yeah, I just think if you collect all this data, eventually you'll find little niches that'll kind of help you a little bit. But also, it's kind of like anything else. Like you just let your brain see as much stuff and then let it try to make the right calls.
Well, the real question is, what is ChatGPT going to do about it?
ChatGPT.
That's what we need again.
Well, it depends on what you tell it, right? So like a lot of people
how
just
are you gonna
think,
angle that? What are you gonna say to it?
I'm going to say there's a game called Photo Finish Live. Make up some numbers. Here's some FF. You know exactly what that means. ChatGPT, you're the best. Give me winners.
ChatGPT, tell me what FF means.
Yeah, based on these times with these numbers, what is this calculated off of? Reverse
Like there's a
engineer
guy named
ChatGPT.
Paul. Hit him up. Get the data.
Yeah, let's see about Paul.
It's really cool to like, I guess I didn't really think about the betting aspect of this until recently. And so just thinking at it, like I've always been in this really from a racer and a breeder standpoint, just because that's what I enjoy doing. But I think that the more like me as a bettor, when I bet on things or when I do fantasy or when I do poker, I just want like more information. And so I think that like even if the information doesn't necessarily clue you into anything, every bettor wants to have some point of reference. Like you don't want to just go into a race knowing nothing, like, and you want to kind of have a little narrative too a lot of times.
Well, if you have data, you can just blame the data. If you have no data, you can only blame yourself. And human beings, we don't like to blame ourselves, right? So it's easier when you can just pass the buck.
Well, even when you're looking at data, say like for daily fantasy, for example, in basketball, it's the most correlated. So you can project people's data the most, but still on a night to night basis, it's almost impossible to predict. So even though like data stuff, it's really like when you look at macro, like micro instances, which is why betting should be sustainable, is that it's really hard to predict. Even if you have a good model on an individual or a single race, you won't be able to predict it that well.
Right, and that's things where it's a little more, like you said, a little more predictable, even like regular sports. But then you take horse racing into account, where there's tons of variables that don't exist elsewhere. You know, whether it be horse has a bad day, horse, you know, takes a bad step, gets bumped, you know, wrong spot of the race, you know, doesn't find room. Other horse makes a move early and cuts them off. And there's so many things that happen in horse racing that it's really, really hard. That's why I talk a lot of shit about, not your race algorithm, but just in general about how video games can't really perfect real life. But for horse racing, you know, I give you guys a lot of credit because you guys are so much further than anybody else that's ever tried this, in my opinion. So I do appreciate, you know, where photo finish is at the moment. There was a race going on. I was kind of letting you go. But, yeah, we'll call the next race. Was it 720, the Derby?
The handicap start betting close. Okay, yeah, there's another race about to fire off. Yeah, I mean, and you know it's a work in progress too, man. We are like just building on top of this, building, tuning. We're still tuning slightly. You know, there's just so much stuff that we're like, I mean, there's a lot to get right, though. You're right.
Oh yeah, that's the crazy thing with ChatGPT. You mentioned that, but it's like once you start going down that wormhole, it's like there's so much to refine and get better. I think that's really where the whole community understands, like we're kind of all in this together. We all want to see different parts of it improve, and we all have our own kind of philosophy about that.
Yeah, man, it's looking so crispy. Like the game itself, I swear, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I can't track all of the little changes, but I swear the actual video itself looks better than I've seen it in a while. Like it looks really good right now. Something about the
yeah, it's a little less grainy.
Yeah, the grainy, something about the graininess, the resolution, the lighting. The horses even, maybe I'm just making that up. It's just the post. It's
shadows.
The endorphins. I just worked out so hard, you know, I'm just feeling so positive, you know.
You're pumping some iron.
Yeah, it's pumping mad iron. Oh, that's a close one.
That is a close one.
Shit. What is that? That's a difference of 7/100ths of a second.
Oh, big nose would have helped you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that race, when the guys earlier were, that was a pretty cool stream, by the way, that Ian was on. Cool dudes. Yeah, I
7,000ths of a second. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. I hit him up the other day. I was like, said to Ian and everybody on the post, I was like, yo, if you gotta do the call, and then Ian was like, yeah, I don't know where Mo is. And I was like, I'm here. I'm here.
I didn't know if I was supposed to be on that stream either, but I think that the dynamic worked out pretty well. I think it was definitely a good little stream. Lots of clips, you know, lots of good footage. Good exposure. Just gotta keep on doing that, man.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too, right? I mean, for me personally, if I'm going to tune into a race, I want to hear a race call. I don't really want to hear people talking over it. However, that being said, there is room, again, for different types of streams where people are hanging out, they're just talking shit. It's like 2-3 people, you know, just bantering during the race like they were. I think that actually did work, you know, for a different dynamic. Me personally, as an old-time horse player, I like to hear and now, you know, to me, that's what horse racing is all about. But again, you know, more dynamic, the better.
If we could have phoned you in, Mo, I'm sure we would have done it. Spur of the moment, man.
All good. I guess I've been on my own shtick lately too. Not about me here, it's about you. But you know, fill you in. You know, I've been a little bit of an awakening lately. Just been kind of getting a little of a rebalance, a little bit of a reset in life. I've been a little, you know. Been a little off in places. I think photo finish is one of the good places I wound up. But I'm kind of trying to reevaluate. And then Epic Games, who does Fortnite, came out with their new Unreal Engine editor for Fortnite. And I made a lot of money with them. I'm partnered with them for years. So I was like, you know what? Let me dive back in and making my maps again.
When you say partnered, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean?
So when they release creative, like where people can make their own stuff, I made like a little grapple hook course, like Spider-Man going up like a tower.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just made a quick little thing and went viral overnight. They hit me up and they were like, "Hey, we want to give you like a Epic Games code, like MoKnowz or whatever people can use when their kids buy V-Bucks and stuff." And I get a cut. Basically, I get a kickback.
What's the cut? Like 5-10%, or like 1%, 0.5%?
It fluctuates based on the time of the year. I also get cuts back. I get kickbacks on like sales for games and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll do like bonuses, like, hey, you know, 10 people use your code this month, we'll give you an extra, you know, 10% on top of it, you know. But ideally, I think it probably was like 2.5%, 3%, maybe something like that in the long run. But
yeah,
you know, listen, for one day's work, one weekend's of work, you know.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun, right? I mean, it's like kind of fun to do that.
Well, I'm very creative. I grew up in a creative household. My dad
So,
built an amusement park in our backyard with roller coasters and zip lines and all that shit. So I love building stuff. I love just letting my mind, let
so
my mind
what's
run.
this recent thing that you're mentioning with Fortnite though, Mo? What are you saying? They're coming at you again, or?
Well, yeah, so what happened was you were limited by what's inside Fortnite, which was like a cartoony, not really something that a lot of adults and people would want to get into. However, with Unreal Engine, you could do photorealistic stuff, lighting, dynamics, physics, everything. So they were like, hey, we're going to give you guys access now with Unreal Engine to bring your own models in. So all my buildings that I made for like an old game called SOCOM, third-person tactical shooter, now I can just bring that stuff into Fortnite. So I can use their mechanics, which are great, their gun game, which is great, their servers, which are great, and now I can bring my own maps in, my own assets, and actually start to get paid again. Well, yeah. So Unreal Engine is
crazy
using
how
ChatGPT.
It's crazy how they source that out like that. Like that's just so interesting to me, man. So interesting.
Well, they're not sourcing it though. It's made by Epic Games.
No, I'm saying, yeah, but they're sourcing it out to you and they're paying you for it. And it's like they're doing this probably with a bunch of people and they're getting
Oh, of course.
they're gonna get great ideas and maybe they'll even get like a game mode out of it, you know what I mean? And it's like they're definitely not, I would imagine they're not paying you nearly as much as they'd be paying a full-time employee about this. So it's like
100%. It's
just smart.
grassroots
Yeah, interesting.
development.
Yeah, but it gives people like me, the opportunity to maybe do ideas that a game company or game studio wouldn't necessarily pick up too,
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the whole-
You're free. Yeah, exactly. That's the benefit. You're free of their culture. You're free of their idea sphere. You're like in your own space, man. I just think that's so cool and interesting. Like I love the idea of all of that. I've just been thinking recently. I mean, like like the like just like our stand-up meetings every morning. Like I swear we just like talk about ChatGPT for like 5 minutes. Our whole team, we're just like, oh my God, we could do this. Holy crap, we could do that. Like, what does this mean? It gets pretty weird, probably mostly as a result of, it's probably my fault that it gets weird, but it's like, it gets pretty weird. But it's like just imagining what kind of crazy iterative procedurally generated worlds can be built by this machine, in the future. It just seems like we could really all go out to pasture in like our own like particular favorite flavor of game, and it could just like kind of generate infinitely. You know what I mean? Like it's like, what's your favorite game of all time? It's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna make a level that just never ends and like slowly progress, and you can just live in it. You know what I mean? Like whatever,
you
like
could
whatever
even
you want.
create your own competition or whatever.
Yeah, you could create a world, man. You ask it to create rules and then tone it. It's just wild. It's just a wild time.
Yeah, it's endless. To me, one of the things that I've found is like, all right, sure, it shoots out all this data, and then I get it. Like I was formulating the real estate plan or whatever. It's like, okay, well, what are the 2 things I can focus on? And then like, let me just go in deep there and just focus on those. So like, it's kind of like not getting lost in the woods and
Yeah,
staying,
definitely. Yeah,
you
you could go.
know,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, even
you
this
gotta stay
conversation, we could take
focused.
this. Yeah, we could take this conversation. We could talk about ChatGPT for 2 hours. We don't have to do
Yeah.
that. But damn.
I mean, I could.
Damn-
I mean, that's
damn
all
if
I
we
talk
couldn't.
about too. So.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just so wild. So
I
wild.
have a buddy of mine that does a. We got a few minutes here. I got a buddy of mine that he has a local soft wash, power wash company, and he was like, "Hey, let me get an online presence." He's like, "I know you do stuff for people online." He's like, "You can help me out." I was like, "Dude, I never really did it for like a business,
Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
Yeah.
let me go to ChatGPT, man. I was like, yo, give me the best SEO strategy in the world. And this thing,
Yeah.
I got him up over like 4,000% on Google this month. Like the stats are rolling in. We're making a lot of progress. Now we're getting hits on the website. I'm doing blogs. I got this thing auto-generating blogs for me for his
Yes.
Facebook and everything. It's insane. And I don't know if
Yeah,
you
what
guys
is-
ever
what does
heard
it
of.
mean?
So
I
so-
can't imagine the implications of that for just the sphere of business at large. Like, what does this mean? I just don't know.
Well, for
It's like,
Mo, it means that Mo can do this for himself now. Now you're empowered.
right.
You can do that. Like even watching Joanna, she was so excited because she finally got an SEO score to like 99% using Chat GPT or whatever. So like she had
Nice.
never got above like 96% all the correction errors or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's really just about empowering everyone. That's the whole idea behind all of this space is decentralization.
If you're going to empower everyone, it's like what that means to me. It's like, it doesn't have to be grim. What it could mean is that like everybody, like provided that you can be a little idealistic here and say that like everybody has like a unique talent and slice of like what they can do and can't do kind of, but it's like, so it'll allow you to lean into that and empower you to embody that slice that you're maybe, you know, quote unquote supposed to lean into to a further degree, which is cool. That is cool. It's not completely it's not completely dystopic, you know what I mean? Like I think people you know, they conceptualize AI as just like the end of everything, but
that's how a lot of my friends are. But I'm like, you know, the airplane takes off, it's basically flown using AI, like
yeah, and it crashes a lot less because of that. Like it's way better that is the case, you know. It's like that's good, kind of.
It's like it's already here. It just, but then you have like really smart people who are saying you should be afraid too. So it's
we definitely should be afraid.
Interesting thing.
Yeah.
No, we definitely should be afraid. If that Microsoft experiment taught us anything, what these things were talking to each other in their own language, they knew when the humans were off the clock and they weren't being watched like that. That's crazy, man. Like we start heading into that world.
Should be afraid of my horses coming up in this.
Oh yeah, 35 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't really. Oh,
I
sorry,
wish that one of the things I wish is they would cut there before they just take off. Like take us to the track maybe like 10 to 15 seconds before they just shoot out.
Dude, you guys see Facebook pivoted from the metaverse to AI?
Oh yeah.
So
I wonder how
funny.
much money they'll lose on this project.
I don't know, man. They got to be so behind there too. Like,
yeah, my brother just showed, he works for Google now. His security company got bought out by them, and he showed me the AI that they released, and I'm just like, ChatGPT is way better.
yeah, ChatGPT.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Mo getting up into the box.
All right, here we go.
All right.
I'm climbing up. Skeletons are fragile. Horses are renegade.
And Ghost Diver overcame the
They're
wind.
off here in the third time Thursday handicap. Desert Rose from the outside breaks well along with Hail Mary and Pearl Heart. And down on the rail comes Neptune's Gallop, followed by Plutarch, and Santana's going to take up 6 here, rounding out the leaderboard. I got them out in 15 seconds, and I am rusty, believe it or not, as we head into the opening turn here in the third time handicap, 5 furlong left turning affair on the dirt. Track is good, smoke is better, and Pearl Heart leads the way. Another break of 2 here on the outside comes Hail Mary, full of grace, and it's Santana who's jockeying in between horses, with Billy Breckenridge breathing down his throat, and Cecilia now starts to get going. As we head off the turn and head for home, it's Pearl Heart looking to hang on, but down the center of the track, it's Santana, puts down his guitar and picks up the jockey, and here he goes, over by half a length to the wire. It's gonna be Santana, is gonna bring home the third time Derby over
man.
Pearl Heart and
Why you gotta do
Cecilia.
that to the girl? She's heartbroken.
Wow. That was a close one, man. He still took second, man.
Yeah, classic line. You still got second.
Mm-hmm. Still got second, man. Still
My
got a
dad
Always a
little
would
payout.
bridesmaid.
always tell me, you still made the money, son. I don't know why you're upset.
Yeah, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it.
That was a hell of a race, though.
Your first or your last. It's the Ricky
Well,
Bobby
he
gospel.
does get that part. He used to fly around with Dale Earnhardt, so he gets that one.
Oh, really? Yeah. My
Yeah, he
father
works
was
in
obsessed
racing.
with it. Oh, did he? Yeah, that's cool, man.
He works for RCR now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The hell of a race. Real quick, too. Shout out to Scoop Steve and chat. Anybody else hanging out? Appreciate you. I know this is a weird race time for all of us to be here.
Super Steve.
What do you say? Said I think third time did a great job. Just so much under the hood, imagine, but amazing engagement from the team and community. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. You know, and I'm trying to reach chat. We got a little carried away there with the AI talk, and that's
yeah.
probably my fault. But
I think it's
Oh,
all of our
it's
fault.
never-
Combined effort.
Never carried away. It's all right.
the last thing I will say about AI, because we do have 7 minutes. If you're not using the Chrome plugin, they started charging for it, and it pisses me off. I put it in the Discord a while back, called like
Apron?
AI. Yup, dude.
Yeah, it's
That
been great.
is
I just paid
game
for it.
change. Did you, man? I gotta pony up the
Yeah.
dough.
I
They
paid
got
for
me, man.
both of the things. I just literally, yeah.
It's so good. Yo, Paul, what's
This
up? The
is a
chat, the
big
shake up,
race.
guys. By the way, Bib, sorry, Mike, didn't cut you off. This is the guy. This is the guy that we need to talk to. That we need to convince that you guys are the future. This is one of the greatest physical, real life horse handicappers in the game. I shit you not. This man He knows his shit. And if we can get someone like him to understand that this is not something to take over horse racing, but something to kind of coincide, fill in the blanks on rainy days overnight. But yeah, this guy in chat, Paul, appreciate you stopping by, man. We're just calling some races, hanging out.
Paul.
Yeah, welcome. Look forward to your future handicapping in our game, which is possible, by the way, if you've ever checked that out. We have wagering pools, win play show currently, but we're going to, once we have more betting liquidity, integrate some exotics in there too. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Maybe one day we can pull them up. Maybe one day we can pull them up into the stream. Well, kinda. I don't think that's really alpha. I think we've said that before, but.
Yeah, and I mean, is it out of the realm, especially early on, right? I know long term you guys want to have your own stuff, but if somebody did it during the that November race, right? Someone was taking like the side bets or whatever off site.
Yep.
Yeah,
like if someone actually wanted to give odds, if someone wanted to give odds and be like, you know what, I'll pony up the liquidity for pick threes or daily double or something, like leave that up to them. I mean,
that might
you
be
guys
in the
gonna.
works.
I mean, is that something that third time's going to strike down on, or are we going to let that kind of fly early on until you guys get your own system going, or? Yeah,
I mean, we're definitely not the kind to, I mean, unless it's very much like illegal and bad, we're not really going to shut down. The philosophy of the game is player owned, player run, it's like we designed this game so that players could take the reins to a large extent. Of course we want to own. We think that when we design when we put the exotics into the game, most likely we'll be able to make them more attractive than any offsite betting, so we think we'll be able to, we want the vig, of course, right? But if we're not providing that service, we're not going to like stomp on your service again, unless it's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just curious, like I said, because I know that one of the digital like OTB guys or whatever was doing it, so I was like, I don't know if that's something that would really fly, because at that time you guys were still running beta, everything was for free.
We didn't even have betting at that point. We didn't even have it, so.
Yeah, that is true too. Yeah, so I can take it for granted.
It literally didn't even exist.
Yeah, it didn't even exist.
Infra at all. Yeah, so.
And that kind of shows you where we're at with this game, I'm kind of replaying a race.
We've come so far, man. It's crazy. We've come so far.
Yeah, dude, when I found you guys, I was scrambling.
When did you find us? Okay, yeah. We were, but you found us in beta though, right?
Found you in beta, tail end of beta 1. I was, just like everybody else, strung out on the other game, just not really having a good time, trying to figure out the re-rolls and this, that, and the other. And I was like, man, there has got to be something better. And I just typed in like NFT horse racing. And of course, D-Race. And D-Race comes up number 1. And I was like...
Yeah. One. That's just an SEO fail. Don't even say anything, Mike.
But this is so long ago. But this is so long ago. You know what I'm saying? Like this, because I did have you guys on the radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had you guys on the radar way before I got involved. So
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get there for sure, man. We're gonna get there. It's like, imagine even earlier. Imagine you were just like when I got involved with this, I minted stylish studs. Like it was such a wild, ride. To just be like, wow, they're actually building something. And it's so funny because it's like this team was just like one of so many on this shitty site that just listed all these mints, and they're all at 0 now, of course, you know what I mean? And my friend was just like, wait, this team like made games, dude. I was like, really?
I don't even know why I bought these horses, and I didn't even really go join the Discord or anything till the Phillies were dropped. I was like, what? They're throwing me Phillies? What are these things?
Yeah.
So then
did you get lucky with that, by the way? How lucky did you get? We had some people get super lucky and super unlucky with that. That was like the first super salty moment.
I really have no clue. I mean, remember? I bought like 3 studs, and I bought like 4 more. I think that's all I had. And then when the mares dropped, I kind of did some more searching for maybe a few weeks on trying to get better matches. I don't remember if I got lucky or not. I think I only had 1 S- when I came, kind of like when Mo was talking about. I kind of came back into beta 1, and I was just so busy with football, I wanted to wait till the end of the season. So then I started beta 2, and I realized like I needed to get some better tickets. So, but I do have like, I got really lucky, and then I got this A- RDS 25.5 4 match thing, which was like my best ticket at the time. And
That's a pretty
will
good.
Go
That's
really
pretty.
good.
Sounds like a pretty good horse. Yeah.
It'll go good with Doc too.
Mm.
And by the way, if there's anybody in chat, I'm gonna cut you guys off. If there's anybody in chat, especially maybe Paul, who I go into his real life horse racing streams. He handicaps live, and I'll just be like, "Hey Mo, what have you been up to?" And I'm like, "Dude, I got these digital horses, man." And like, he's like, "Oh, that's cool," But so in case you didn't know, like people like him, these horses all came from these profile picture tickets, basically, or basically profile pictures that they sold individually, and then they bred them together to create these Generation Zero horses. And there's what 4,482. I know I'm close, but
4,300, I think. 4,362.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, that sounds right.
Something like that.
yeah. So if of course the Zoom said, "You're running out of time."
You're very nice.
Well,
I'll
we
figure-
gotta win this one.
Who wants
I'll figure
the
that out
sub?
one day.
Okay. What are you
But,
gonna do? What are you gonna do? Just like fire back up?
Yeah, I'll just close it down real quick and do it in between races. Yeah, I know I'm Bugetto. But anyway, yeah. So
Lisa's
4,300
about to win
horses,
this.
and
We
they
got
all
Tony Rigatoni in here, man. He's a legend. He's
wait,
a legend.
really.
This is actually a pretty. I mean, White Widows, I think, is obviously the favorite, but it'll be interesting to watch Tony here. I mean, good. Not. I mean, it's better than fast for him in the firm usually.
Yeah.
So,
Tony Rigatoni is a street legend. He's a don. He's
Yeah,
a-
The
man,
no
he started-
star legend, no preferences.
Yeah,
he
no
breeds
preferences.
miracles.
Yeah, they call him No Star Tony.
All right, we're gonna send it
Let's
down
kick
to
it
the
off.
track.
All right, let's go. Tony No Stars.
Yeah, I think next week I'll figure out how to send you guys a video feed in case I ever gotta do this again. Horses are in the gate. And they're off here in the third time Thursday restricted stakes. I swear these race names get longer and longer. But it's Adeptus Sororita who gets out to lead along with White Widow, my favorite on the inside. And it's Rusty Maeve in third with Lisa also struggling along here in fourth. And the fan favorite Tony Rigatoni rounded out the top five here as they head to the clubhouse turn in this 8 furlong affair. Back to the front now, it's still Adeptus Sororita. Don't know why I have a hard time spitting that out, but that's who shows the way. And it's White Widow and Rusty Maw as these three now kick out to a 4-length lead over Lisa and the trailing Tony Rigatoni. White Widow as Adeptus Sororita. These two now start to tail away from Rusty Mob, who pumps the brakes here a little bit for a quick breather. Half mile and 48 change as they make their way down the backstretch here and into the far turn. And just like that now, Adeptus Sororita starts to turn up another gear and kicks clear by 2. Rusty Maeve on the outside of White Widow as White Widow starts to fade. Must have been blazing that harsh white. And now as we head into the opening turn, it's Adeptus Sororita by 2. Rusty Maeve starts to get their best track here later on. But it's Rusty Maeve and Adeptus Sororita. I feel like it's just been these two the whole race.
Go,
But here we
girl.
go now. 200 meters to go.
Come
It's
on,
Adeptus
Lisa.
Sororita. Rusty Maeve down the
Adeptus
middle of the
Sororita.
track and Lisa from the back. And it's Lisa into the final stretch. But it's going to be Rusty Maeve. Rusty Maeve's going to take this one home over
Oh, man.
Lisa and Adeptus Sororita.
I named that horse after my mom because she wanted to have a piece of a horse.
Oh, that's what it's named after?
Yeah.
Nice. Wait, is that another show for you? That's a place for you?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Under
that's
second
good
place,
too.
okay.
It's probably like not. That's probably
My boy
above
Tony.
expectation for Lisa in that race, I would say.
Yeah, what happened to Tony?
Tone.
Poor Tony.
What happened, Tone?
I don't know. I heard some people were believing the S Plus were overpowered.
Well, Tony's
haven't really
Tony's the
seen that.
Tony's the no match S plus. So Tony's got his own little slice of the S plus world, and then there's like I think there's 1 or 2 that are fully boosted S pluses. That's like Meadows. Maybe I don't know if it's named Meadows in V3. I don't remember.
Are we
But
gonna get in on real quick?
If
Is he
if
ready?
Ian joins, is he on?
Is that what we're doing?
Oh, I should probably restart the Zoom real quick anyway so I can get the rest of the stream in here. Give me 1 second.
Is Ian hitting you up? He's not hitting me up yet.
I didn't hear from him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mike.
I thought that's why you were restarting the stream. My bad.
No, it's because his trial Zoom is gonna run out before we can.
Oh,
Yeah,
Classic.
It's a
Yeah,
classic.
you know.
It's a classic.
ChatGPT didn't fix this one.
No,
Yeah,
it
there is
didn't.
no chat
ChatGPT,
hack
can
for
you
that.
pay for Zoom Premium, please?
Paul said real quick, he's like, it looks great, so much better than watching those neon ponies. See, I'm telling you, that's the same reaction I get from every horse player.
See, we
Video
gotta get
game
some.
people, you know, they don't mind it, but horse players, this is what they want. But take a thought on that. I'll restart the Zoom. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Shit. I might have Oh, this was the same link. Hold on, chat. I messed up. I'm a new streamer. Take it easy. Yeah, see, it's not the same link. Apparently, somebody told me there's a way to do it with the same link. And now we got technical difficulties. Please stand by. Yeah, I don't normally run this show. I'm normally just a guy who shows up later. But yo, Paul, man, thanks again for tuning in, buddy. Anybody else hanging out? Do appreciate it. There is Mike. What is up, Mike?
Hey, welcome back. Thanks.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm cheap. Yeah, that's not
You
gonna
know,
work.
it's understandable. If you need a Netflix login, I got you.
Ha! No, there's F movies for that. Let's see.
All right, I'm back.
F
Are we back?
movies. Yeah, we're back. Welcome back.
What's up?
Right.
Thank you.
Sorry about
I didn't
that.
know if I was still talking into the ether there for quite some time.
Yeah, I was just here, like, just yelling about Tony Rigatoni in my like New York accent. That's pretty bad. Just to
we hear
myself.
it?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
S plus seemed to be the thing that you don't need to talk about in the community chat. That's what I've learned. Just don't
Yeah,
talk
people.
about them.
Yeah, we don't talk about that anymore. That's over.
It's wild. I mean, but it's so funny because I kind of get clued in on what happened from so many different people, but I wasn't there
Yeah.
to know for myself, so I have no clue. So I just have to be like, I don't know.
It's at this point, you know, it's like there's so many dilemmas. You know what I mean? There's so many design dilemmas, and you have to play it one way or another, and you'll always.
Yeah.
There will always be people that are not happy with what happens.
Well,
You know, we're definitely doing absolutely the best we can with all of that stuff, of course, you know what I mean? But like, to me, knowing that that's the case, not saying that we've made every perfect decision, you know, but it's like knowing that there will have to be sort of like a decision made to overcome design dilemmas. Knowing that, I find it fun that we get to these really ridiculous, passionate places in the community. You know what I mean? And we talk these things into their tiniest little grains, and we just like it's kind of amazing. It's kind of unbelievable. So
yeah, I mean, you tie that in with the emotion of the ownership of the piece that might be changed, and you get a different dilemma. But
absolutely, it's like how do you balance? It's like how do you cater to the people that have invested and know the game as it is, as it has been, while also making necessary adjustments for the game to be in its best possible form for what we want, which is basically like, you know, a very, very large user base, like it's like way larger than it is now, right? So it has to have more, it has to be toned, it has to be, you know, and ultimately, I think ultimately our holders know that, and they adapt, you know, our players, they do adapt. And that's a funny thing I've seen too, is like I've seen some players, I'm also gonna not name names, but I've seen some players adapt very hard after being very distraught, you know, with like some changes, and then I'm just like, oh, but you're still at the top of the leaderboard. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, it's
that's
funny.
how
You know what
I
I mean?
feel. Like, I just feel like whatever changes you make, I'm just gonna figure out how to best perform on my side.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
my role specifically, like I'm just kind of I think of myself as kind of like a Hermes, but like in terms of PFL, like I'm a Hermes. Like I'm not making very many
Oh, you
design
said
decisions.
Hermes. Okay,
A
I was making
Hermes,
sure I heard
yeah, a
that right.
Hermes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not a herpy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not
I was
a
like,
yeah.
all right.
Explain
It,
that.
it
What
depends
what
on
do you,
your
what is your
depends on your opinion of me, I suppose. But yeah, like so a Hermes, it's it's like the mercurial entity. Like I take what I see, sometimes I package it up and I get it to Paul, or I bring it to the attention of who I think it needs to come to the attention of. And and I try to interface it, liaison kind of between the two entities. Although in some cases with PFL, it seems like I can't even address things to a degree that's satisfying. And actually what needs to happen oftentimes is like we'll make a blog, right, about like large design changes. We'll make like a very big comprehensive
yeah.
blog because it gets really into the fine details. And it's like at a certain point, like I could write that blog, but it just makes more sense to get Paul to write it, basically. So we do that.
And then the
uh,
idea is to generalize it enough to where it gives us information, but also disguises enough to where you
Yeah,
don't
we're not
reveal
giving you
what's
the keys.
happening.
Yeah, we're not giving you the keys to the cow.
It's
You
a
don't want them.
delicate.
You don't want them either. You do, of course.
No.
You want them, but you don't, because if you had them, the game's over. So you don't
Yeah,
really want them.
exactly. It's like Bitcoin private key. It's like once they can crack it, it's worth nothing type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think.
But
I
yeah,
mean, obviously, you guys
wait,
are
but like
whatever you
what I
go
was trying to
second.
say is like, sorry, Mo. The
You
last thing
you
I'm trying to say is like my Hermes role means that like, yeah, I will sit in on like some design meetings and I'll try to represent like what I understand. Like I'll provide like my perspective or whatever that's worth, but I'll try to provide community perspective as well. Be like, hey, well, we are getting this, this concern, that concern, but
Yeah.
ultimately I am not making design decisions too. So just I don't know
It's a
if people
good place to
understand that
be.
about me.
It's
Yeah.
kind of what I did when I was a JUCO football coach. It's kind of like you're just helping everyone get along. And that's a fun place to be too, especially, but in your case, and like when you're dealing with so many more people, I was dealing with like 10 people. So it's a little bit easier, but you still have two people that hate each other, and that's just going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like the way that the job is supposed to operate is basically just like I'm like the buffer, the spokesperson, and we divide that around in PFL because it's kind of a special case. But in in like MVP's suites or whatever, it's totally on me. Everything that's communicated mostly, but even in PFL to some extent too. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think for me personally, and I think a lot of people would agree that you've seen it in other games, like what you guys are doing. Because you said there might be some, some hurdles as far as design and stuff like that. You might have to, work around. I think as long as you guys are transparent with people, again, not giving people the keys of the castle, but just kind of being like, hey, this is why we kind of had to address things a certain way. And as long as you guys have, show the receipts, have the data to back up what you're talking about, don't be wishy-washy and then do something hard, walk it back 2 days later, because the more you do that, the more people are going to know they can just keep pushing you guys back, and it's just going to turn into the other games that are out there where it's like we're re-rolling shit every 2 months. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Right.
that's what you guys have done really well, whether it be Ian having to stand with somebody in in spaces, basically being like, hey, this is where we're at, don't like it, sell the barn, see you later. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I
have.
mean, yeah, Ian is really, really, really good. It's unfortunate that like Ian is also kind of the best at being the spokesperson. Like sometimes I try to think about like, man, I wish I could assuage people like he can. But he like all his experience with like Madden and stuff and all the criticism that he had levied at him and
Yeah.
like how he dealt with all of that, it's like it like shaped him. He got like media training, he's a fantastic speaker, but uh yeah, it's like the way that he handles that, I think is really good. And he informs our overall sense of how we interact with you guys too, so it's like it's just like a good, I think it does reach like a pretty healthy balance between those two things where it's like we're communicating, we're standing our ground where we find it necessary, and we're also kind of like at a certain point we're like, well, this is like what we do. We are the ones making the design choices, like ultimately you need to know that because you signed on with us, you bought our product, this is our thing, so
Right, but if you sell a product one way and, 16 months later it's a shell of its former product because, design changes and things like that, they were constantly walked back and you're like, this is not even the same project I bought into. you can see why people would have a problem with that. And I'm not saying you guys. I'm just saying that you can see
Right.
why the public would have an issue with something like that, right? And I've been dealing with stuff this week alone where it's just that. So I think from your guys' perspective, when it came down to that showdown in spaces, right? Again, I was still relatively new at that time, and I can tell you this for a fact that if I would have went into that spaces and Ian would have been groveling and crying and begging him to stay and this and that, I would have sold my stuff and left.
No
Like,
way.
I don't want that.
No, we would, no, yeah, that would never happen.
But you understand what I'm saying, though, right? Like, you got
Yeah.
to be able to stand strong and stand your ground is what you believe in. And also show empathy, because he did show empathy in that to be like, hey, I understand you're upset. He didn't come in like being like, oh, get out. Again, I'm looking at from the top to the bottom how you guys handle things. And that to me showed that this project, will sustain the test of time. We just got to get the people in. We got to get the people in, get the horses running. And, we need more people
Yes.
streaming. We need more content creation. But I think we definitely have the hype. We definitely have people on Twitter and blasting the messages, and we definitely have that.
We have a really good core community, but we
absolutely.
do not have the hype. We need more hype. You know what I mean? But I think that's going to come. I think there's going to be, this is how I kind of think of social media, and I'm sure that there's plenty of people that could be like, well, you probably don't know that much about social media because we haven't reached virality yet. And I do handle a lot of the social media, but here's my idea of it basically is we do have a niche product. We have a great product, a fantastic product, but it's to me, there's just a tipping point of virality, so to speak, where it's you have to basically play a numbers game where you create exposure points. And then one of those exposure points has the capability of creating the appropriate domino that you need to reach a greater audience. You know what I mean? So you have to play this game where, so in order to create hype, you know what I mean? Cause I think what we do, things we have a great core community. We have a fantastic unmatched product. You know what I mean? We have a great team that's behind the product. But what we don't have, and I think that we're kind of on the cusp of is just broad exposure. Do you know what I mean? And so that's what we're lining up for that now. And we want that. And we have a couple, it's people call them catalysts and stuff like that, but it's I think that we're getting to the point soon where we will start getting a lot of broad exposure. And actually we're starting to try to sort of preemptively prepare, we're modeling out Discord changes and all this stuff to sort of be okay, if massive influx of people come in, how are they channeled through the Discord? How does this all work? How do we get more people helping, even with support tickets too? You know what I mean? Because I'm currently I'm doing support tickets basically, which is funny because I'm also handling HRM people, but it's when we have a real player base, you need a lot of people on support tickets. You know what I mean? People that don't.
This is why it's kind of good. Just the fact that it's not huge yet, but also, you just plan for that. And to kind of go back to what you guys were talking about earlier, I always think of these people who look backwards. It's obviously easy to find flaws when you look backwards. It's really tough to find solutions moving forward. And I just try to always prefer looking that way. But just what you're talking about with the broad marketing stuff, I was looking at a ticket today and a DeGod's guy bought a ticket, which was a good one. So I knew that he had an avenue to figure that out. So that's something more. And I'm looking at the markets every day, kind of at that stuff. So that's just little pebbles. But the overall grand scheme of things, I think it's really important for you guys to really just have an awesome site. It's the great game. And I guess if you just want to feed everyone here and just have the back site is whatever, I guess. But
you're talking about feeding people to the beta site, the live site, the actual platform itself.
Yeah. I guess that's good enough because when I go to the actual third time site, I'm just it doesn't really represent how professional and amazing you guys are. It's
we're aware of that. We know about that. Yeah, there's definitely, it's just a time thing, the way that we angle ourselves. I believe it's a culture thing. It's everybody on this team worked at EA. It's we are shipping this game. You know what I mean? That's what what we're doing. It's we are going to ship this game. We set a drop dead date and we're going to hit it. And so everything else.
Date? What's the date?
Well, I can't, I'm not dropping that, but
420.
Yeah, you guys have gotten, you know, various
Yeah.
date ranges from Ian, so I'm not gonna tell you, but like you know, you can approximate. But yeah, we're gonna hit it, you know, it's like that. So that's what we're working towards, and everything else we can kind of like, we are kind of like gathering it in our vortex, but like, you know, in terms of like actual like focus. And that's it. And the funny thing is, it's like the funny thing is when people talk about, it's like, oh, we're working so hard for release, but it's like what we're really doing is we're working very hard so that we can work way harder once we release.
Yeah,
Like release
that's the
release is
thing, like,
actually like
yeah.
release is a different animal. It's like a different like
You guys are a startup and you haven't even really taken off. And if you do take off, that means it's round the clock as hard as you got, as much as you got,
yeah,
and
exactly.
figuring out
Yeah.
ways to hire an executive and then start managing people and relationships. I mean, yeah, and the more that you guys plan around all that, like, you
Yes.
know, one of my philosophies is always plan backwards. So you just start with where you want to be, and then you like, all right, well, how do we get there, and what's the
Right.
on ramp? Like, you're on ramping people, but you're basically using your plans as an on ramp for like y'all's entire company.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like
30
like
seconds,
here,
by the way.
like,
Just throwing it out there.
oh, we got a race right now?
30 seconds, good.
Okay. All I'm gonna say is that we like between now and massive exposure, it's like we're jumping in spaces, you know, we're getting Ian in spaces, we're onboarding
Oh,
like
those
these
are
little,
great.
yeah, they are, they're really good. Even this is really great, you know, just like getting like serious players, because it seems like we can pull out like, you know, 2 or 3 from each of
Yeah.
these little community, at least, you know, just building the core community is very powerful, because
But
a few
also,
people can do a lot with their stable, especially over time, you know,
you
which is
can
very
put
good for the game.
keywords into all of these streams, then take those, put them in a blog, and that's basically, then you can run a campaign on Google. That's basically what I saw Joanna doing last night. And I was about to buy all these real estate leads, and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going to do that for you, and they're just going to super upcharge you. And like, there's ways that you can just start building that in the ether. Like, it's so easy, it seems.
Did the
We
cup
get
run,
rugged
Mo?
on the cup. I think we got rugged.
Yeah. Oh man. Maybe if we go to the main page, maybe it'll load. Sometimes they load like later. That's okay.
Yeah,
I'll leave
this
the
has
th-
been
I'll leave the third
happening to
time
me.
page up.
I wrote this in the suggestions thing, and
Oh, it's loaded. Wait, I think it's gonna load. I think we're gonna be able to watch it.
so what is technically happening here?
What's happening is we are like simming the race out, and then we're uploading the video. And I guess sometimes like they're just, so I don't know if it's a bandwidth thing. I don't know if it's an AWS thing. I don't know exactly what the
Well,
cause
if
is.
it's a bandwidth thing, imagine what it's going to be like if we on ramp.
Well,
Well, but there'd be the
right.
same amount of races running though.
Yeah, it'd be like a, oh, come on. I think
That's one of
it looked
my
like
big-
it wanted to load. Yeah, I don't know how many races we'd be running at the same time though. That's the thing.
That's just one of my things, is like early on, especially with so many big DeFi stuff, like everything got DDoS attacked and shit. It's like,
Right.
all that protection security is so vital. Like, any downtime is just horrible. So like, whatever you can do to avoid downtime, or even avoid like something like this happening, is like urgent notice type thing in my mind as a consumer.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's definitely fair. The thing is that it's like, it could be just that we're trying to cram so many things into the build right now, to get them tested, that there's like some stability problems, because I remember that we had fixes for this in place. I remember like a few months ago.
Yeah, when the races
Yeah.
were so clumped together, it was like when it was like 1 or 2 minutes in between instead of like the
Mhm.
5 to 15.
Yeah, and
You
yeah,
know.
and sometimes they wouldn't generate the video.
I'm honestly so happy
Oh,
that this
Ian's
is
trying to get
happening
in here.
on stream, because I felt
got
like
it, Mo?
a dummy when this happens and
Yeah, I
people
got it.
just like, what's going on? I'm like, something's going wrong that needs to be fixed. So I think
Yeah.
it's just good that we're witnessing it and realizing.
Wait, Mo, so you're saying you got the video? We're gonna call it? We get to watch it?
No, Ian was in chat
Oh.
on YouTube. I'm gonna give him the new Zoom link here so he can get in.
Oh, cool.
Until this one inevitably goes down in like a half hour. But there we go.
It's working for me, this
Oh, wait a second.
third
hell they
time
sent him?
Thursday Cup.
Oh, is it really? Hold on.
Yeah. So you can,
Oh, yeah, it just generated. Nice.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
You ready to throw a call out, Mo? Let's
Yep,
hear it.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
I might be a little behind you guys.
This is the last race for the day. You better nail it.
Isn't there one more? Is it
I didn't see another one.
the last? Okay.
I could be wrong.
All right, let's hear it.
Alright, I know my voice effect was on that whole time I was talking to you guys. Holy crap. And they're off here in the third time derby, and I just whipped my video ahead. I'm gonna just pause it like that. There we go. Wow, we're throwing it, and Ian might be joining. And Thanos is out to the lead with K2 in between horses and Zeroth down at the rail. And back and forth, there comes Voldemort in the blue silks, followed by Puff Daddy and Slow Gary, slow yet again today, but plenty of room to go here as they make their way into the turn in this 4 furlong affair. Then again, maybe not that long to go. Opening quarter in 22 and change as they hit the turn and head for home. And it's Zeroth who takes the lead by 2. K2 down the middle of the track. Voldemort finds a full head of steam here and challenges for the lead. Puff Daddy on the outside as well. As we head into the 8th pole, it's going to be Puff Daddy and Voldemort. It's going to be Puff Daddy who's going to take home this one over Voldemort and Thanos.
Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy.
Okay, what distance was that again? 4, right?
4, yeah.
Sprinter.
Puff Daddy's a soulmate horse. Mainstay. It's a nice win. I mean, look at that total purse.
Hey, it's Mr. Ian.
Oh, Ian's
Hey,
here.
guys.
Hello.
And great job
like,
today. That was amazing. Had to
Yeah,
be
that was
fun.
so
That was a
much
good
fun
stream.
to be
good
experiencing
stream.
that.
It's God, you need that, man. Like it's been such a crunch lately, just like constant. I mean, I haven't slept, I haven't done anything but work in like weeks, it feels like. And then when you all of a sudden you poke your head out and you're like, oh yeah, like everyone fucking loves this. It's not
Yeah.
just a bunch of negative people in Discord. It's actually
Yeah.
like a good product. And yes, there's
Whoa,
always
the
like, I'm my
slander.
own worst critic. I'm always my own worst critic. So
We all
it's
are.
not slander.
But
Yeah,
you choose
everybody
what to
is.
focus on. So
Yeah,
just jot
which
that
is me,
note.
the negative. The
Well,
negative. That's
Just
what I
jot
focus on.
what happened today mentally, and for your mental
Yeah.
health, try to program more of that. So you're just having
I know,
fun with
right?
a bunch of guys. You're not being
Better dopamine.
CEO. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Chat,
mean, it's
chat
like,
GPT
when you
4
go
a
back-
therapist up for yourself, Ian. See how that works.
I'll be here. I'll be here. Literally, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm really
Yeah.
good at this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been
Yeah.
to the depths of hell mentally, so I can help you.
Yeah. So yeah, good to be here. I obviously saw him late, but yeah, kid stuff. It looks like
What
they're trying to
happened
get
with
us all
that?
moved around. Dude, this is crazy. It's just like, well, it's not crazy personal, but like, my kids in elementary school, one of my oldest, and today, like, I don't know, like a couple of kids just kind of went like rage crazy, were swearing, fighting, punching, F words. This is 5th grade, I was like,
How
what
was
in the
Davis
world?
involved?
So-
How is your kid involved in that?
yeah, it's Davis. Yeah, everybody knows.
Oh,
He was like playing. They were out on the playground, just playing soccer, and like 2 kids. It was like, I think Davis probably started it, where like one of them did a foul, and he was just like, "No, it's our ball now. It's our kick," and he was just sticking to it. And then they just like flipped out. One of the kids punched a girl. It was just like this crazy. And then it turns out one of those kids had gotten suspended earlier this week. And this is like, oh my God. So yeah, I mean, he was all super upset. Like, imagine you just like this little pure kid, and this kid, they told him he was adopted. They're like, you're probably adopted. There's like, this is 5th graders.
That's so
Jeez.
stupid,
He was
dude.
all like, I know he's
That's
all
so
like
dumb.
worked up about it. He's like, man, he's
Yeah.
like, I just can't get that out of my head. I'm like, why? What? That one doesn't ring true, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
that's absolutely. You definitely look like both of us, don't you? Like,
I was like, that one shouldn't sting, but all right.
I think this
So,
is
yeah,
good
it's
to
just been, like,
see. It's good to see
crazy,
for the community. Also, you just as a human being, like
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
important at the end of the day.
Always trying to balance that. Yeah, it's like I'm still dealing with all the crazy, PTA
Yeah.
meetings and science centers and field trips and shit, But
beautiful.
yeah,
It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing to have that.
yeah,
problem.
man. It's the reason I'm doing all this,
Well,
for
tell your
the
wife
next
mad
gen.
respect. Mad respect, because
Yeah,
it's a tough
Yeah,
time
it's-
for her, I'm sure, emotionally, just with you so invested.
yeah, for real. Like we took a spring break vacation, the entire time on my phone. Also, I'm just like, look, I know that I'm busy, so uh, So we had an anniversary last week or whatever, and I actually took the whole day off, unplugged the phone, and that was like a real, of course, anxiety inducing, but like really helpful to recharge the battery a little. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of built this way though. Like I'm if I take the foot off the gas, like I start feeling weird.
Yeah.
I get anxious. I don't like the way I feel. Like I need something to like always be not necessarily stressing me out, but like I just need goals, so.
Well, you picked a good
I'm
thing to
programmed. Yeah, I mean the crypto stuff. I was actually telling the guys at lunch today. It was like last night, the elementary school that we're at, they rented out this whole science center, and so there's just like hundreds of kids, running around this place in Orlando. And just, within 20, 30 minutes, I'm like anxiety freaking out. It's just too many kids, it's too many people, there's too much like madness, a lot of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not feeling good. I'm trying to kind of check out a little bit. So I sort of like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and just try to kind of slink away for a few minutes to sort of like be clear. And of course I look at my phone and Alex is like, red alert, need your help on the community over here in the MVP Society. So there's this other like, brain explosion of like that. Yeah. Like, oh shit, what's going on there? And it just like, it was a moment of like maybe 10, 15 minutes where it felt like the weight of just everyone, everyone's bags, everyone's jobs, every kid, it was just like, holy shit, I'm never going to escape this crisis, and then all of a sudden, then 20, 30 minutes later, I'm like, all right, it's fine. Everybody's gonna have a good time.
Yeah, you responded so well. Like you helped me out so effectively. Like that's funny. That's funny that you
have those moments just as a human, man, where it's like, because it's like, people don't know that. They just drop into Discord, I'm pissed at this one thing,
Yeah.
You just don't realize, like, man, like all that's piling up on me, or the team or whoever has got to kind of be on the other end of that. And so it's such a rough road, but it's like, I don't know, I always have been really drawn to that, like the goal of entertaining this many people, which you can do in games, is just so like thrilling and exciting to know that your work is being played in Turkey and in Mexico, and and it's just like,
I've been talking to a French guy who's coming on,
French
it's like
guy,
so cool.
That didn't exist, this little slice of life that we're in. Again, I just try to step back and be like in wonderment of like now AI being able to just take over the world. And then, where it was 10 years ago, the big thing for me was just being able to release my game to the world. Like that was never a thing. Like you could never do that. And now it's like, sure, just whatever you make, it just goes in the worldwide. So it's really exciting. You get stuck, of course, on these details. Oh my God, the fucking table doesn't sort right.
Whoa, we don't swear around here, sir. We don't swear on this channel. This is a good Christian channel. No, I'm only kidding.
This sounds like an exact moment I've had with my coach, and I just go through and tell him exactly what you're talking about, and it's like, oh, I'm getting all these accolades, everyone says it's great, but all I feel is that I'm sucking and I'm not doing my potential and all of this stuff. I think like it's really important, especially like the progress over the past week. I've just felt so amazing, you guys, but I just think like even what you're talking about, the red alert and the teamwork, all of these things are like so important and so amazing to be a part of. Just like, just try to be grateful for that as much as possible, and realize like, even I guess when I look back or I think about any of my biggest challenges, and just like 10 minutes ago, we couldn't get a race to start. And I'm like, I'm glad this is happening on stream because now we know it needs to be fixed and that I don't feel like a dummy. But also just to like be grateful for the things that are challenging, because that's what makes you better. And that's what is going to make this whole product better and the community better and just like all of that.
Yeah, no, that's good. I wanted to check on Mo, like how you been, man? I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while. I mean, you still grinding? I saw some posts that you were like up at 5 a.m. doing some shit. Are you that much of a night owl?
I think I slept like 6 hours all week. I slept more today, I think, than I have in the past week and a half combined. Yeah, I do. I'm just, my brain's always running, man. I think we're similar maybe in that aspect. My brain is always running. I just don't have business to run. I just kind of do my own stuff creatively on the side. And yeah, lately I've been back at the 3D modeling. I've just been kind of stepping away from the degenerate crypto side of things. I love photo finish. I will always
Definitely a
be.
good thing to do.
Yeah, no, I will always be here, like doing this, and we're hanging out, calling races, and in Discord, what I'm saying, rallying the troops. But when it comes to like the day to day with everything else and a lot of other projects I'm involved in, I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore. So
it's
when you see me up,
right? I mean,
when you see me up
it's
popping
awful.
off,
Yeah.
it's just it's taking a toll on me at this point. And I'm like, I got into this to kind of make a big change in my life, and then now I'm kind of like pivoting off of that a little bit. But I don't know, man. I'm just I'm surviving though. But I'm just excited for what you guys are doing here, man. Like I said, I don't really have anything else going on besides photo finish, so I'm enjoying it.
I mean, to share like just a little bit of alpha. I don't know if anybody's on or not or cares, but like obviously we're so excited to grow this thing, and people don't know. Obviously, that's the plan, and it's of course a hard road, but we are now like set up. Platform's looking pretty solid. Of course, we got tuning to do. Of course, there's things that we'll keep fixing and tuning and releasing and all that. But I think we're getting close to the stage of obviously doing the live launch. Everyone knows that 420 was our hopeful cut date. I'm still aiming at that. And the Kentucky Derby is 5 weeks away. And everything in my power is to ride this wave. So everything we can do to capture as many eyeballs as possible we are doing, and we'll be announcing more stuff and all that jazz. But yeah, I mean it's an exciting time. It's super stressful. There's a million things to do. I mean, I just have like this is my wife's office basically, but so I forgot my notepad and I was on a meeting the other night and just like furiously writing down just 20 post-its, because I didn't have my notepad. It's just like there's a never-ending list of stuff to do. But it's really fun right now. I mean, some people aren't cut out for this, I must say, but it's fun for me.
I'm baffled. I mean, not to just shower it on really thick, but I'm just like perpetually inspired by my own boss. I think about sometimes I'm just like think about how much shit you deal with, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, oh Jesus, like that's horrible.
I remember one of the meetings that so Paul, Fleetwood, who joined third time, really maybe 6 to 8 months after I started it, so he's basically a co-founder. I remember at one point we were hiring some people or something, and I said, I entered over, like kind of my philosophy and what third time's all about. And I said, well, Paul should probably give some words. He never speaks on this stuff. Paul, what do you want to relay to this new hire, to know about? And he was just like, it's really hard keeping up with Ian. And I was like, is that good or bad or
it's good. It's good.
But he was just like, he expects a lot from and I try to tell people too, like, even if I'm messaging you at all hours, it actually doesn't mean, unless I say so, that you have to be on all hours like I am. But it's just that's how I'm just always thinking about it. It's just as much like the job of video games is just as much my social life. I love it. I love talking about games and talking about music and games and all the things. So it's like they're all kind of one thing for me. I don't ever really like shut off. Oof, finally I can clock out, because like I love doing this stuff. It's like my hobby. It's not really a job, but a lot of people, they're not the same, and so that can be challenging. But I think we got a great team now. It's just amazing how everyone seems to be digging in. I mean, every single crunch or release, every game I've ever worked on, it's fucking brutal, effing brutal.
And, you can curse as much as you want. I fucking curse all the time. I was just joking. I don't know if you were listening earlier, but I did want to touch on something with you. I don't know how long you guys have, because a lot of projects. I feel like because you guys are doing everything ass backwards as far as like Web3 and crypto go. All right, I mean that as a compliment, a wholehearted compliment. You guys are doing everything ass backwards, whereas everything else is the fluff and the hype, and let's get all the followers on Twitter, but they have no substance. They have nothing to stand on. When the push comes to shove, they're just shoving out these overnight Unreal Engine products. You know what I'm saying, with like store-bought assets, and everything is just it's never good. It never turns out well. Whereas you guys, I feel like, you guys already baked the cake, and now we just need the icing, right? We got to frost everything, get everything ready to roll. But you guys have the hardest part done.
Yeah, it's like imagine, it's like imagine, this was always the ridiculous thesis about the game. This is what attracted me to the entire project. It's just like, imagine an actual fucking game coming out. Like it's just, which is so funny that that's like a thing, but it's like it really is. It really is
delivering something.
Imagine actually building something that like is like a, I don't know, like a serious offering, like an actual product. I don't know, like I don't know, like maybe that sounds kind of mean, but I just don't. I really don't see that anywhere to this quality at this time. Like in this environment, like in this space, like it's just not happening, man. It's just
no. Even the marketplace is just better than any NFT marketplace you could find. Like even some of my reservations that I had, I'm like, oh wait, on an NFT you can't just go on your phone and enter a race and make your fiance watch it on the TV. Like interrupting her housewives for the night and just saying, hey, check out my horse real quick. And just the fact that you can do that, the other NFTs can't. But yeah, overall, I just think the product is great. The progress is great. Like, I guess for I don't even have to tell you, keep realistic. You just need to be almost like, just forgive yourself sometimes. I think that.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
and you understand that
I've ever been to. Yeah, that's what they always say, I mean, like, you're a musician, right, Mo? You play guitar and stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I like one of the therapy sessions I had, I went into a bunch of stuff. This was years ago. I haven't been in a while, if you can't tell, but not enough time. But it was just like, it was this kind of crazy realization that like, I remember every missed note of solos from fucking 20 years ago. Like, I mean, or 30 years ago. I'll remember every mistake. I'll remember every tiny little thing. And then you can go back and watch a video of like, playing a live show, and it's just like, killed it, 5 minutes solo, everyone happy. But I'm like, here comes the bad one. Like it's just like, I don't know what it is, but it is like such a crazy perfectionist problem. It's not a healthy one, but it's like, it's there.
I mean, it's best and worst quality is all it is.
Oh yeah, it's like some people. I was listening to a podcast today or the other day, and I thought he said it really well. It's basically like some people are just not. You're not doing it to be happy. Like you're not playing it to be. That's not what it's about. You know what I mean? Like you enjoy being happy when you like get that little whatever happy moment or whatever. But it's like some people, it's like you're not designed to do it to be happy. It's like if you were designed to be happy, you would not. You would probably just be somebody that's content with doing very little. You know what I mean? Like your loop is just smaller, right? So it's like, the reason that you're able to, it's like the best, like the best comedians, for instance, that's what the podcast I was listening to. It's just like, I'm not like when everybody laughs, I'm like, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing it, but I'm not happy that I did that. That's like me being like what I do.
Right.
That's like, this is my trade, my craft.
It's about time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been on successful projects, and I just want to let you know, I game tested for Ensemble Studios. You remember this game Age of Empires?
Yeah.
So when I was 18, for 2 weeks, I won this tournament. Age of Empires. It was Age of Empires 3. I won some tournament, got flown to Dallas, got paid $250 a day for 2 weeks. So we were at the studios play testing the War Chiefs beta. So it was so cool. And then I just feel like I've been on the cusp of a lot of emerging markets with poker, with DFS, and I really I've had that vision for a while, but just seeing it today just put it kind of like you said, where you start to see it. And when you and just making, and like obviously like the crypto people, they love like that, but also it ties into kind of the influencer idea. This game goes so well with like new generation influencers and stuff like that, who I saw this woman just sits by her computer and has like 6 million followers, and I was so blown away.
We need like random Korean girl streamer that degenerately bets on, with like 5 million viewers at whatever given time. We definitely need
I mean, we can just get a hot tub streamer.
I'll be scouting it. I'll scout it tonight.
Hot tub streamer. There you go.
Yeah, we just get a hot tub streamer with a mirror behind her, and then we have her watching photo finish.
Races.
Just watching races, and that's it. I'll call him.
You'll
you know.
volunteer to call him from the hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, obviously. Just run that, clear with the girlfriend first. But
Yeah,
But yeah, but dude, that stream today though was awesome to watch, Ian, with those guys.
It's so fun to. Yeah, they're so like chill. I've always loved that crew compared to like when I first started getting into kind of salon and trying to just see who's the people to know. Because I mean, I feel like I always have a good time like talking shop on either Deb side or Marky side or whatever. And like the first set of podcasts or Twitter Spaces I was joining was that guy Alex, the shilling villain guy, and it was just like horrific. It was just so negative, and it was like I actually kind of liked his shtick. I thought it was pretty funny. This sort of like get off the stage, bozo. Just immediately boot people, and I thought, well, that's good. He keeps it moving. Whereas you get on some of those spaces like people would rattle for an hour, and they're like no experience marketing, just boring the shit out of you. But so I thought, well, Alex is good. But then it was just a few, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, I was just like, oh, he's actually really like really mean. He's actually really like this. He hangs up, and I was like, oh, this is not. I don't want to be.
It's like a comedy routine or something. It's definitely not productive, right? Like I feel like it kind of wore itself out. I don't know.
Mo and I have talked about that. Howard is like my idol too, and it's like he is like that. He hangs up on people. He's super, but it's like he's endearing on the other side of people also.
But he also provides like incredible interviews.
He's also amazing, of course.
He's got value to listen to.
You can be a dick to someone that calls in, and it can be funny. That's sort of what I thought was funny about it. But he's also not that bad.
But you got to balance it with like, I mean, if you're shilling villain, you got to balance it with like, oh, what's the actual alpha call here? Or is it just you shitting on literally everything? Like, what alpha am I getting besides everything fucking sucks? And like I should ever, like I don't really get. Yeah, I'm just like, I can get that as comedy. I can get that as catharsis, but I don't get that as like, what I mean? Like I would love to go around to different like spaces and just yell. I'm not gonna, but like I would love to.
But anyway, that's how. Just long story short, that's how I found easy. And someone was saying like,
oh, whoops. Oh crap. Jeez. That was awkward. Sorry, guys. New streamer here. Copy invite link. Let me try that again. This is fun. I swear I know what I'm doing here, chat. Sorry. God damn it. That's it. I'm going to get professional. Next time. Hopefully they come back. He's probably still talking too. It'd be like 5 minutes. He'd be like, oh shit, Mo's not even here? What happened? Like, should we go back? I don't want to go back to that guy. Like, why the hell would I go back? Oh, never mind. He's back. Boss man's back. Everybody shut up.
Even a free account. I have a full Zoom you can share with you.
Yeah. I was trying to find an alternative. I'm like, man, it's got to be an easier way. But then somebody told me I can use the same link and just like close it down real quick. That didn't work.
Yeah, if you create like your own personal meeting room or something.
All right, we're back. We're back.
Yeah. Anyway,
right, Mike let me know that he's not going to be back. He's got some shit to do, but he enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, he had enough. All right.
He had enough. Well, I was just going to finish my thought. That's how I found easy. Was like, basically getting out of the shilling villain and starting to look around in the spaces and like, wow, he's here. He's on every day, twice a day. And he's got a decent following, and it's like the dude's just actually working hard and grinding. He's not shilling anything. He doesn't let people come up and shill. He just talks about what's going on in the market every day, and it's like, it's pretty fucking cool. So I was happy to see them really enjoy it because it was I've talked with him a few times just randomly about getting into the horse racing side. Him and Frisk, the other guy, have always like really been interested in it, but we just never had a chance to do it. So I was like, yeah, why don't we? If you guys want to do Thursday, let's try it out. And yeah, it was amazing seeing how juiced they were. I mean, you could just see like Bunny, like
whoever that guy on the right side was, dude, he was. Yeah, dude, that one guy on the right, the second guy over or something, he was like losing his shit during the race. It was so cool to see that, man. Like,
I love watching people lose our shit at our game. It's like the best thing to watch, man. I lose our shit. I lose my shit, sorry, over our game. Like, it's just exciting sometimes, man. It just gets you.
Yeah.
That's the thing about horse racing, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good part of today, I guess. Is just, and Mo, I'm not sure how much interest you have in sort of the track ownership or any of that stuff, but like, I walked by Justin's desk today and saw a lot of that, like, it's finally kind of up and running and fully working, and it's running in like the dev environment, but it was like, Justin's like, yeah, I own 90% of this track, and it shows right here. That's 150,000 Derby this season, that's coming out. I was just like, whoa, it just like all of a sudden you see it with everything set up. And I was like, holy shit, this is like really cool. Like, this is not, it has nothing to do with like third time, or it's like, this is like the decentralization part that's really cool about Web3 of like, that track is yours, dude. Do what you want with it, stream every night, do whatever, like, it's just, that part is really exciting to see that slowly. I know it's going to take a while. All these things are going to take a while. I hope everyone realizes that.
Yeah, but
the pieces and parts are tight. It's feeling good.
Right, and we were talking about that before you came on. Is that that's what I respect about you the most. And I said I referenced back to the Twitter space with Stens or whatever after the whole race incident, and I was like, man, you were just like, yo, sell your shit and go if you don't like it. Like just. But you weren't like an arrogant asshole about it. You know what I'm saying? You just told him like, listen, man, like this is our beliefs as a company, and this is how we're trying to run things. And if you can't respect it, then I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I'd much rather see that from someone with my money than someone who, again, is just going to backtrack and walk everything back to please the masses. Because we've seen it happen in other projects where it doesn't work out well for you guys or us in the long run. And that's, to me, that's a big problem with Web3. It's a big problem with crypto. It's a very influencer-based, place, whereas I am from a gaming world. I've been gaming since I was a year and a half old. My dad was like, you wouldn't go to bed, you were playing Mario Brothers all night. Fast forward 40 years, I'm doing the same shit, But like the point, still doing the same thing, still up all night gaming and, being a degenerate. But I look at you guys and I'm like, man, putting together a product, being able to have belief in the product. Nobody else even has a product right now. If they do, it's like some sort of smoke and mirrors. We don't see it. You see a little bit of gameplay. I think, what was it? The Other World finally had like a demo or something. The Other Side, whatever it's called. Yeah. It was kind of impressive. Not gonna lie, it was the first impressive thing I've seen on Web3 besides you guys. It was like thousands of players like running around. They weren't doing anything.
They have so much money. They are able to actually build. Yeah,
something. That's my thing. Is like that. Like, it is impressive as a tech demo, but to me, I was just like, so.
Well, but that's my point, right? So you guys did it, right? Because you guys did it because that's what you do. They did it because they had all the money and they had no choice, and they have to catch up. You know what I'm saying, to what the masses expect.
That's That's what people. That's what people don't. It's like there's just too many powerful forces converging on this project. That's it's like that's the thing that's so exciting. It's like it's gambling. It is crypto. It's like this sport with a bazillion people that actually love it around the world. There's like a ton of money behind it. And it's like, it's also not only all of that, it's like, there's also like a real team of like incredibly experienced people building stuff, which is just not, there's just not that much of that, man. There's just like very little of it, especially in this convergent space. It's like very like, I've always said that we're like on the frontier, and I still believe that. I think we're like a frontier team. And we're like really building some frontier shit. And it's like, and we're at this epicenter. And so like, yeah, it's so exciting when it like the closer and closer and closer we get to like embodying this place. It's just like, I don't know. I think that it's going to end up being quite wild.
It's exciting.
Realistically,
for sure.
Sorry,
go ahead, Mo. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, realistically, there's nothing else, especially horse racing wise or racing wise, that I can show somebody and they're like, yep, I want to see that on TBG every night. Nothing. There's no other game. There's no other platform. I've showed my uncle, my boys, all the gamblers that I hang out with on a daily basis. I showed them all this stuff, and they all, by the time I got to, photo finish, they were like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude, what are you showing me today? And I'm like, no, this is different, man. This is like, okay, this is different. What do you got for me today?
This one's not bullshit, okay?
I'm like, dude, listen, man. I'm like, remember when we watched the Derby? They got that, that virtual race that comes up and they're showing the horses. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I remember. It was cool. And I'm like, well, it's these guys, man. I'm like, yo, EA Sports. I'm like, Zynga Games. I'm like, there's backing from all sorts of different worlds here, again, coming together like Fib's talking about. The perfect combination. And then I showed him the game with the graphics, and he was just like, his eyebrows went up. And he was like, all right, you know, how much do I need? What do we need? And you know,
Right. Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
told me, you asked me about the track ownership. I mean, I own 6 of the PFPs to stake, so I am staking those.
Nice.
And you know, I'm not going to be a majority. The same way with the
Yeah.
horses. I'm the minority type guy. I'm going to be the one that's kind of running the basement level races. You know, I mean, I love.
Yeah,
I think
you're an
everybody
aqueduct.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody knows me
Yeah.
by now, man. Like I'm not out here running $100 races. You know, but
Yeah.
if
I think
tracks
the
out
I think
there,
it's
Me
like
either.
it's like the genre of horse racing lends itself so well to like the convergence as well. You know, it's like when you think about like an RPG and you think like, oh, I want to like own this asset for real so that I can like, I don't know, sell my sword online. It's like I can kind of do that, you know, like already. Like it already exists. Like if I
Yeah.
want to buy
There's
a
already
League
great
of
markets.
Legends account, I can already, yeah,
Yeah.
there are. And it's like, and the actual utility of that to me is just like it's like kind of dubious. But it's like but it's like a horse racing game lends itself so well to the idea of ownership because it's just like poker
Yeah.
and it has
Perfect.
that same backing. Yeah, it's perfect because it's like you have skin in the game and it becomes interesting and the ownership system is like so well suited to the actual environment of the game. Whereas like I think like a lot of people have shoehorned and are looking for ways to shoehorn like NFTs and crypto and tokenization, all that stuff into games, and it just doesn't really make sense because the money isn't it's like the money itself detracts from the game, whereas like in poker, in horse racing, it's like the money is the game. You know what I mean? Like in a
Yeah.
way. So to me
Right.
it makes
Yeah.
a lot more sense. It's just like a great fit in that way.
I mean, you
No,
guys.
it definitely. Go ahead.
No, I cut you off way too much. I got it.
No, I was just gonna say, obviously that's what drew me to it. You know, like we had all these other games, and it actually was always the shoehorning was the other way. Like on mobile, you know, when we're doing these things, we're shoehorning in these like unreal and weird ideas just to get around the mobile free to play design limitations. And you know, you end up like, okay, how are we going to solve aging? Well, let's see, the user can skip 1 month at a time. And well, okay, are they in a shared universe with other people? No. So then what happens when they get online? How does that work? You know, you end up with all these like weird, you
Yeah.
know, spaghetti code, strange design decisions just to like try and get it working. Like, and then, you know, by the end of that, you as a designer and a creator are like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. And then everyone that joins is like, what is this? How does this work? What do you mean I got to do? You know, like, and that's what's been so great about like, no, the ecosystem is totally open. We can never change that. It becomes this like, this freeing thing of like, we don't have to worry about that now. That was what was so exciting about Web3 is like, no, we're going to run a platform. We're going to take fees off of the platform and everyone will have no problem doing that because that's how everything works in real life. You pay for
Yep.
the platform that you're using,
Yep.
as long as it's not a ad stealing Facebook or whatever, you know, but like whatever else out there, a Craigslist or classifieds or what have you, you know, this is it. And now all of a sudden we can just make it exactly like we want without any of the weird, you know, gotcha strange shit in it. And we, of course, we had to do some of that at the beginning here, which has been tough. Like, well, you fuse two cartoons together and then those turn into a horse. And
Yeah.
well, sometimes the ratings of the rarity actually make it a better horse, and then the temper rating doesn't, you know, just like, oh my God, we outsmarted ourselves on that part. But
I think it's
you know,
brilliant.
now that the race horses are here, you're like, go for it, everyone. You know, go be free, play a race, and horse owners, and go do whatever you like. And we're excited to help support you on your journey as a horse owner. You know, that's sort of what is really exciting to me, for sure.
Yeah, and Phil was talking about, like, you know, you can buy accounts and you can, you know, easily get your money worth for items in other places if you put in the work. But I think, you know, like you said, you have ownership of the horses. You know, if a dad is, you know, owning the horse and his kid, you know, is sitting around, you know, having their morning cereal and dad's watching races on the TV, you know, fast forward a year or two, now the kid might, you know, want to name a horse. You know, fast forward another, you know, decade. I mean, I'm getting ahead of ourselves here, but you guys are building something so
Right.
special, man. Like, cause I'm a big, you guys know, I'm like, I want to be the guy who's walking around in my barn, you know, petting Rainmaker and, you know, feeding them a freaking carrot, you know, inside photo finish. I'm
It's so
weird
funny.
like that.
You're not the only person that
Yeah.
wants that, which is really funny. I think that
No,
desire
no,
that
it's not,
desire
yeah.
is so that desire is funny to me, but it comes about through people that really love like real horse racing, like really want.
Well, I'm an
like,
animal lover. I love animals. Like I
Yeah.
love cats. I love dogs. Like I just love animals, and you know, that's just how I was raised with my dad. You know, he's always like, "Don't step on little ants," you know, running around the concrete. They getting home to their families too, type of deal. You know, that's how I was raised. But
Nice.
but so
That's
for
nice,
me,
yeah.
He's
yeah,
like he's
so
like
for
a
me,
Jain,
you know.
he's like a Jain. You know that religion?
Yeah,
Jain,
yeah.
Jainism. Yeah, like killed nothing, not even like bacteria.
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. But you know, if there's I don't have black widows and brown recluses here where I'm at. But if I did, when I was like in Florida, I'll wipe their asses
let 'em
out.
live?
What about like a mosquito?
No,
Okay.
That's-
I was
no,
like,
I take
shit.
them out.
Yeah.
No, I take them out because they'll take me
Yeah,
out. They won't
good.
think twice. You know.
Will you
But
kill,
no,
will
my
you
point
kill
is
a
like,
will you kill a mosquito, Mo? Well, I mean, we don't have to get bogged down in this. You know, I'm just wondering though what your limits are. I'm just curious.
I mean, listen, if they don't mess with me, I don't mess with them. If they land on my arm, they're done. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just
Yeah, that's fair
but-
enough, man. You know, that's fair enough. Violating your civil liberties.
Yep, my personal space, my mosquito space.
Personal
Yeah.
space, man. Very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
But am I wrong? Like I'm envisioning a world where the same way that bloodlines are passed down in generations from real horse racing, that I'm envisioning a world where like a kid is going to tell a story 25 years from now potentially about photo finish and being like, "Oh, I inherited this horse from my dad and we were like breeding them together and now I own like the 6th generation so and so." Like what other game out there and what other platform out there? I know it sounds stupid as
I
hell
know,
to most
right?
people, but
No,
what other
it's not.
platform
It's
out there
not.
is building
my dad's
that? Like
gone, but
that's, you know,
but my,
To me,
my
it's
NFT
crazy.
remains. My dad, my grandpappy's long gone, but Prickly Pete is still with us. You know.
yeah, and you know,
yeah.
they'll be naming, you know,
It's,
but to me, but it's like it's a whole different like attachment side. I think, you know, again, long term, if people get involved, and you know, I think they're going to appreciate things like that because this game does have personality. The
No, I say
horses
that-
do have personality. You know,
Yeah, building
say
out
that a
like
lot,
the
too.
lore and all that stuff. Yeah, the legacy.
I say that a lot, like, which is weird. You know, I've had to do like probably 50 or 60 fundraising and investor calls in the last 3-4 months. You know, it's brutal journey on the road of trying to, you know, raise funds, and it's just sort of like kind of frustrating how few people seem to care when I said that this game can last forever. You know, like I can't think of any other game that I've ever seen that actually can last forever. And it could last forever with us walking away from it. You know, like it could actually, now I'm not saying we are at all, but like imagine this new era of games of Web3 where the ecosystem's open. If the races are being run by something, server, maybe it's a smart contract, I don't know. You know, and the horses are aging and dying, and the ownership is controlled by the players of the tracks. Like, why would it ever stop? Even if it's 100 people, even if it's a million people,
the Bitcoin of
always
horse
would
racing.
last.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of, it is like that though. It's sort of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, even if the player base went down to 12 people, but they're just breeding 150 and 200 horses, they would still be playing. And then if it goes up to 1 million, the horse population will come up and then come back down and settle where it needs to be. And it's just like that design of this game. I'm not even saying it's any sort of stroke of brilliance. It's just real life.
It's just real life. It
Following
just-
what happens in real life.
Yeah.
And
The
it's just like,
natural balance
it could
of
actually
reality.
run forever, and that's so exciting to me to think of. Like, man, what a entertaining, even if it isn't a huge amount of people, it's like it's a really entertaining backbone that could last. You know, like you said, there's not much out there. And I think about, you know, when you go to Vegas and they have the little horse racing, you know, tabletop thing that's sort of a joke. When you go to the UK or Ireland and they've got the little virtual horse racing kiosks everywhere, it's kind of a joke. It's just a pull a slot machine. And it's like, this could be always running everywhere in the world. And
Oh yeah,
people could be like,
need
oh,
to
is
be
that
in those spots.
the
That's where we
commish?
need to be. Yeah, the commish. Yeah.
Commish? He's got a horse running later. I can't wait to bet on the commish. You know,
Yeah,
it's
is that
just like so
Solanaut?
wild.
Yeah.
You know, is that Solanaut? Wait,
Yeah.
is that? No, it can't be. Is that the horse Harry Cheese or whatever? You know,
Yeah, hairy cheese. Yeah,
I've heard of Harry Cheese.
hairy toenails. Yeah.
It's just like it could happen. And so it's such a weird world we're living through right now that it's sort of like when you get future looking, it's pretty exciting to think about how this stuff could really happen. And it's not impossible. There's nothing stopping that from happening. Every other game I've ever worked on, you will cap out. Every person will cap out. They will max out the stuff. Every RPG, everything ever done, you will beat it. You know, even if they come up with any number of generative things,
Yeah,
they will
exactly.
always
Yeah.
have a problem of stopping. World of Warcraft has been around forever.
Yeah,
and
World
that's
of
because
Warcraft's a
people
great
are
example.
constantly working on it. Every day they're putting out new things. These people have been, creating quests and side quests and art and everything, expansion packs forever. And it's like
And they
this
piss
one
off people at every
could be run
turn.
entirely. Yeah, it's just
I mean,
wild.
Blizzard's always
So, I don't
pissing
know. I
people
hope
off,
that-
So
Yeah, right. I just hope that sticks with people. It's sort of like, wow, this is special, and it's going to take some time, but it's just like, man, what a different. Just got to stick through the sort of growth phase of, at the beginning part here, and I don't see why it doesn't work. But there's a million things
Well,
in the way, of course. But
I mean, I'm a big fan of the
Always
old
things,
saying,
always things.
"Cream always rises," right? So
Yes, I was
Yeah.
just
You
I
know-
was just in the process of posting WWE gifs actually.
but I'll just say, again, that being said, I think
Rises to the top.
cream always rises to the top, right? It's from from one of my favorite movies, Airheads. But
Airheads, that's a good one.
yeah, that's a
think I've
great
seen
movie. What?
You haven't seen that? Well, you're
Oh,
too
no.
young. It's,
No, I
90s
like
stoner idiot.
I love
comedy,
90s stoner
yeah.
idiot comedies.
Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler,
Fraser.
Steve
Oh,
Oh, Brendan
Buscemi.
Fraser. Wow. Okay.
Steve Buscemi,
I might have
all
to
in a
watch it, yeah.
band.
I can't tolerate
good.
Pauly Shore, but I can watch a lot of shit. I can watch like Kevin Smith stuff.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah, I like Kevin Smith.
Yeah. I mean,
But this movie's on a.
Clerks and Mallrats,
Clerks
but-
was good. Yeah, Mallrats. I think I prefer
yeah.
Mallrats. I think more than Clerks.
Actually, I really just like
Really?
basically only those two movies by him. But yeah,
Well, Chasing Amy, I really loved Chasing Amy. That was good. That was really good.
never watched that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that was my favorite when it came out, like compared to the O2. Now I think I have a little more like I enjoy watching Clerks and Mallrats again more than I like watching Chasing Amy.
I like Jay's cousin from Russia. That's my favorite guy. He's a great guy.
Berserker.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is a great character.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
Well, I just
He
queued
just
up
sang
Mallrats. I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Yeah, I'll watch Airheads, dude. I'm down to watch Airheads.
Definitely watch it and
Yeah.
definitely let us know what you think. Because again, it's
Yeah.
that and Grandma's Boy, and
Oh
then
yeah, I've
Cheech and
definitely
Chong
seen
still
Grandma's
smoking.
Boy. I've definitely seen Grandma's Boy. My whole high school class loved
I've never
Grandma's
seen
Boy.
Still Smoking. I've seen Up and Smoke about 100 times, but I've never seen Still
Dude,
Smoking.
you've never seen Still Smoke? It was the second movie. They went to They go to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Oh my lord,
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's so good. Cheech goes into this like
I love Up and Smoke.
oh yeah, well yeah, it's this like I said, this is right on par with it. I think I might even enjoy it more. But like he's like Dolly Parton's
Yeah.
coming. Let me clean off a place for her to sit down. And he like wipes off his face, dude. Oh my god, I was like 15, 14 watching that
That's
with
your
my
line.
dad. That's my line. That's what I'm going to.
Huh?
Listen, man,
That's my go-to line, man.
that's my
Bill's
go-to.
gonna work one of these days.
But I had a thought, and you kind of touched on it too, Ian, because most, like you said, most games, most projects, you constantly have to be churning out new content. You know that better than anybody coming from Madden, right? Like next year, new roster, right? Got to have the new features, got to have the new ultimate team. It's every year.
Yep.
It's just constant recycle. But like you said, this,
Yep.
you're not really set it and forget it. Get throw out some new tracks, maybe get some new partnerships here, update some billboards here. Work in some jockey type stuff or whatever you guys want up doing. The Silks, by the way, man, I don't take advantage of that enough, but I hope people do because that
Yeah.
People
It's
took
pretty
people have
rad.
been taking advantage of it. It's looking pretty good, man. It's looking pretty good.
It did.
They
came
look-
out-
they
it
look
came out
really
great,
good.
and we really kind of like hacked it together. I sort of threw that together on a weekend on the Unity 3D side, and of course the website took forever to get it figured out and done and safe. That was a wild one. Like we found out that you have to have an antivirus running on your server because people can like try and hide viruses in images and shit. It was like, oh my god! So it took
Crazy.
forever to do that part. But yeah, I mean, seeing the Bored Ape on the one today, I was just so stoked. I was like, wow, it looked really good. Like it shined. It actually fit the silk. It was just like, wow, this looks killer. So yeah, it's I'm glad we did that one for sure. But yeah, we're always going to build some more features, and I look at it as more of like, shepherding the audience and the competition through the season as being sort of our role. Once we get obviously tuning and everything's dialed and all that, but like, there's always the need for the schedule to be sort of dynamic and changing and listening.
Yeah.
And so you can always have, subsidized or sponsored or interesting tournaments, pots and purses going. I mean, just like real life, like every once in a while, someone invents a Pegasus Cup and, now all of a sudden there's an all cash giant stakes race, and then next year
Yep.
there's they're moving, this other derby, part of the Breeders' Cup is going to be here, and so it's just kind of like keeping it fresh, as sort of that's the live ops that I would like us to be able to do and get on that, as opposed to like firefighting and tuning and any of that. I'd like to just make it where no, we're kind of constantly putting out new and fun little side quest schedule
Yeah, for
racing,
sure.
so that people have stuff to do instead of just like all I'm doing is grinding the same name
There's
races.
so
which,
many
like
avenues there
that'll
too.
get old.
There's so many avenues toward like in that vein, which is super exciting to imagine. Also, like once we like turn that corner of
Yeah.
going live and we get solid, it's like how we can expand further from there is like really cool when you start thinking about like what's possible there.
Can I make a request?
It's designed. Yeah, of course.
You want the petting zoo? Are you asking for the
Write
petting
it
zoo?
on
No,
my
not the petting
Write
zoo.
it in my post-it
Okay,
note.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the horse metaverse.
I might have a little bit of a delay, I think, on my mic. That's why I think I cut you off without even trying. I want to see a track, man. I want to see like, because the track is too nice. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see a rundown shithole,
this.
man. I want to see like Mountaineer.
Yes.
No disrespect to anybody that might know about or work at Mountaineer.
What's
sorry.
the one where people run the lavatories? Like, what's that one? Let's get that one in there.
That's Pimlico. That's Preakness. I mean, that's a big track, but
Yeah, it's a big track.
The porta potty run.
Yeah. But that's just because there's like so many people crammed into a small area there. But like, I want to see, like I said, I want to see a rundown. Like this really can't be safe to be standing underneath this hallway here, type of deal. Some shady business. Like I want to see something like that, because if you see like the dirt, the night lights, like you see the dirt, it just looks different when you watch racing at Mountaineer compared to when you watch dirt racing at Churchill. The dirt is dirtier, it's grittier, it's like it's like kicking up these weird nasty clouds of probably like some weird virus, But no, it's to me, it's like I would love to see that like I'm sorry. I would just love to see like that like essence or like the atmosphere of like different types of tracks be captured. I don't know if you guys watched like the Dubai Cup last weekend, but my boy was like, yo, dude, I know the Dubai Cup was on, so we watched it like together live. And it's like, dude, you look at that track and you're like blown away, even on TV.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
It's like it's massive. It's like it's crazy.
It is.
The money,
but
it bleeds wealth. Looking at every angle of that track.
Yeah. Just insane.
They have hotels on that track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whole thing.
There's like penthouse hotels that have views of the track, so you can just be in your hotel while they're racing.
Yep.
Crazy.
I would love to see that.
I totally agree with you. My last over the summer, my family and I, we basically spent most of the summer up in the Northeast, in Vermont and Maine. Of course, I ended up working the whole time, but at least we was in a different state. But it turned out when we were I'm trying to remember now, Bangor, Maine, there was a track there. I'm like, we gotta go. I gotta take the kids to this track, and we show up, and dude, I mean, it was a harness only, which I didn't know, and I think the purses were like $150.
Damn.
The lowest of the lowest of the lowest stakes. I could never. I mean, it was like everything was right on top of each other. Like the horses are just coming by you, on the way into the it's not a gate, of course, but onto this little track. And totally what you said, it was like, I was like, is that asphalt? It was like it's dirt, but it was just really gray, and like just soot. I was like, what in the hell are they racing on? It looked horrible, and yeah, we bet on like one or two races, and the kids are like, it smells funny here, like, all right, let's get out of here. But
my family's been like, you get used to it. You'll get used to the smell, kid. Don't worry about it.
I loved it. I was like, I could spend the whole day here just betting, because it was like, you put $20 on a horse and move the odds. It was like one of those type of things, and be like, all right, well,
big bet,
I'm
fucking
going
bankrupt
for
the
the
whole place.
exacta here. Yeah, all I'm trying to do is superfecta, and you just bury them, but yeah, it was like that makes me wanted to ask you this question. You are a purist, you love thoroughbreds and all this, and you love horse racing. I don't want to add this anytime soon, but would you want to see things like that, quarter horse or harness racing, added to the game? I personally kind of don't care, but I'm just curious, you're the purist. Would that I don't know why, or would we, or should we? Would you want to see something like that in the future?
Honestly, if the if the population grew to the point where it was like there's people coming in and they're like, you know what, I really miss my harness racing. I can see that, but I think most people that were horses or horse playing people are the people that watch like the main races, like the Derby and stuff. You know, because most people I know that aren't like the daily gamblers, they'll always hit me up around Derby time, like this time of year. They never hit me up, you know, for like big harness racing and stuff like that to get my opinion. I'm like, hey, is there any breeds you like coming up in the harness race tonight? You know, but see, the thing about the quarter horses though, because we kind of have them already. We got the 4 furlong races, you know. But a lot of times they'll take 2-year-olds and they'll run 2-year-olds in like shorter sprints. And not necessarily quarter horses. They are horses that eventually will run, you know, 4 or 5 long or furlong races. But even early on in the career, they might be able to run, like I said, them really short quarter horse sprints, you know, and there might even be quarter horses in them races sometimes, depending on where they're at. But, so, I mean, to answer the question, I would say maybe like long term, it would possibly be something to look at. You know, but me personally, I would.
Like yeah, I mean, I don't care either. It's just like there's sort of an interesting thought. If you think about the long tail of the economy of like, okay, you know, a year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, there's a lot more horses, a lot are retiring. And then likely, of course, cream rises to the top. There are going to be a ton of horses that no one really has any use for. They have no breeding value. They raced poorly. You know, what do you do with that 8-year-old now that is like has no breeding value? And of course, in real life, you know, it's sort of like, you know, they go to the farm or they do this or whatever. But it's like, I thought, well, that's an interesting thought of like, oh, they just throw them into harness racing from 8 to 12. And now there's like this little, you can keep racing them with low stakes with, you know, against other people. But I don't want to build all that shit, you know, with the truck and the small track and all that. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, actually,
chariot racing.
That's what I was saying. When you explain it like that, I kind of think maybe it is a good idea, like long term. Like, yeah, what if these horses just aren't that great? Let's just slap a harness on them and see how they work out. You know, because I wouldn't even think of like where the horses were coming from when you approached the question for a second. But yeah, they'd have to come from somewhere, right? So yeah, they would come from, I guess, bad, you know, worse horses. I mean, that's
the ones in Bangor. They were those horses in Bangor were like 15 plus. I mean, they were all like great around the muscle and shit, you know, out there running for $100. I was like, oh god, this is sad. Maybe they like it. I'll just pretend that they like it. They like to run. But
yeah, I'd probably put that away in like the long-term plan. But
yeah, I say it's definitely not anywhere on my top. But that's why I'm curious is like, if for whatever reason all the horse players are like, dude, without trot, you know, harness races, I could give a shit about your game. Then that would change my mind maybe. But
I mean, 2% maybe.
Things that you'll never hear. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think 2%, maybe 1% of the.
Where is
horse racing?
Yeah.
But I do think, like I said, I think different tracks with different vibes. Like I said, you know, the Mountaineers, like I said, the
I
night,
like that a lot.
You know, and then like have your pristine. Because the track right now, I think is like it's a nice track. You know, it reminds me of Gulfstream a little bit, I guess.
It's a Gulfstream,
like Florida.
Yeah.
Definitely,
you know,
definitely influenced.
And you know, obviously, there's a ton of different tracks. You know, like you guys have to like choose inspiration from. You know, or eventually strike partnership deals, which would be huge too. You know.
Yeah. We talked about as well. Like one of the limitations of our old sort of engine, our first version of our racing, was that it pretty much had to be ovals, and we've actually changed a lot of that. So we can support any style of track. We could even support long steeplechase with jumps and all that stuff too in the long term. But we just haven't, you know, gotten there. It's sort of like we're just doing America first, basically get the U.S. style sort of dialed in, and then worry about that later. But
yeah, exactly.
I love that notion. I love the idea of seeing, like, again, like maybe it's a year or two from now, seeing where a horse was born on the blockchain. Like, oh, he was born in England. Okay, he's from a line of distance, you know, turf.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about horse racing too, is it calls us like into expanding into these different like territories where it's so beloved. You know what I mean? Where people really follow it. You know, it's like we follow it in the United States like in a very limited way compared to how some cultures do in some countries and stuff. It's like So it almost is like asking us to like one day ahead to.
I know. I
various
can't wait to
places.
do that. I mean, that's going to be the big like pop up. I think is once we get dialed in is Asia. I mean, it's just like
Yeah,
if we
just that
can
whole
get
side of the world.
anything,
That whole side of the
Japan
world, like Japan, Asia,
wipes out.
Australia,
You know,
also great.
You know, first Japanese
Australia,
race I
we
ever
may be
bet
able to
on.
land. Oh,
Yeah, I think I have a mic delay. First Japanese race I ever gambled on was a horse I found late night. It was called Mo. And I was like, gotta play this horse. No, I think he took second or third. But it was just funny. I never played Japanese horse racing, never really look at it. But I just happened to be up late night playing Australia, I think, with my uncle. And I was like, gotta play the Mo horse, man. But now I watch
the
it.
ponies in Japan, man. They love the ponies in Japan.
Yep. Now I watch it every now
their
and then.
tracks, all their proceedings look just like super crispy too. Like everything looks really nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, see, that's I think the biggest critique, and it's not even like a massive critique on what I have with, the game here because, well, the platform here. I would hate calling it a game, to be honest. The platform that you guys built is that, I would actually love to set up a 24-hour stream and just have, like other games do, and just have the stream running. I think you guys should probably look into doing the same. But you would have to change, I think, the layout a little bit. Because right now, like, I don't know if you have my stream up, I can't really share my screen without messing up the cameras. But even when I go full screen, it doesn't even show when the next race time is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I put this in suggestions
we
a while
talked
back.
about that for sure. Yeah, we definitely talked about that. This becoming like a site that feels like it's being broadcasted all day, where they're like milling around, the next race, it's bouncing between tracks. All of that is sort of good forward-looking future stuff that we'll definitely do. Because I think actually pretty soon we will have a fix at least where like when you come to the site now, you just look at a GIF of an empty a track sitting there for the majority of the time, and we're at the very least going to show the last race that just ran in a loop. Show a few before, so you always know that there's one coming up. But then like previously on Photo Finish Live, and stuff was running, so that at least it like feels alive when you come to the site, on the homepage, on the races page. Because right now it just feels like, is something starting? Is it frozen? Is it broken? So we'll have that coming pretty soon. But
right, like you said, even maybe like a jumbotron. Yeah, I'm gonna get going here too. But even like a jumbotron, you know what I'm saying, showing like a replay like on this, the graphic, and then maybe off to the side having like, up next, and then like clearly this way people don't think it's like up next, in 2 minutes, and then have like kind of like what we have now, But then having that replay or some kind of highlight reel going on like when people show up, probably a really good idea. But that being said, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming to hang out for a bit, calling some races, and we'll do it again soon.
Always fun.
Just
Always fun, Mo.
On these for sure. Yeah, Mo, you're the best, dude. Talk soon.
All right, gentlemen, appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Peace.
Have a good night, boys. Later.
Yep.
All right, chat. That was fun. I appreciate those guys. Ian's a good dude. I always feel like I walk a fine line of like kissing people's asses, but he does such a good job. The whole team, man, like I said, they trying to figure out how to close this end meeting for all. There we go. Yeah, it's just I've been disappointed with everything, every game, every project, and it's just weird and refreshing sometimes, like when you talk to these guys, because it restores faith in gaming a little bit. So, all right, do that. All right. Well, I don't know if anybody's still hanging out. We appreciate it. Oh, well, at least my loving girlfriend's here. Hey, baby. All right. Well, I'm going to call it up there. Call it quits. I'm actually exhausted. But anybody that's watching this, do appreciate it. Like the channel, follow the channel, hit the bell. I don't even know what the hell YouTubers say. If you're on Twitch, I don't know. Subscribe. Thank you. I need the money. I'm broke. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.